The Startravel 120 by Skywatcher, or the Orion 120, since it makes a number of these and they sell them under different brand names. It's a large 120 millimeter, 4.7 inch refractor. There are several things you can do to improve your views or your photographs. There's 5 of them. We'll do them in order. First, there's pinched optics. Sometimes when they package these things up, they tighten the retaining ring too tight. They tighten the retaining ring, of course, so that when they ship it, the lens won't fall out. This retaining ring is right in front of the primary lens. You need one of these things. It's called a spanner, a lens spanner or lens ring. Make sure it's the right width. It moves back and forth. There's 2 holes here in the retaining ring. Stick the spanner in those holes and very carefully turn it counterclockwise a little bit. That will loosen, that's all there is to it. That will loosen the retaining ring and repair pinched optics. You'll know if you have pinched optics. This one didn't. You'll know if you have pinched optics because the stars won't look like stars. They'll look like asterisks or X's or strange looking things. That's because the lens is being bent. I've had several that did have pinched optics, and they're fairly easy to fix. If it's right on the cusp, temperature changes might cause it to become pinched. Just loosen it up a little bit. Next thing we have is chromatic aberration. Chromatic aberration is when the chromatic aberration is present in all simple refractors. To a lesser extent in ED refractors, which has special glass. This being a double, just has crown and flint glass. So you get these blue circles there on the screen. You can see a photo I took with a big blue or purple ring around the star, and next to it one where there is no purple ring around the star. And the one that doesn't have the purple ring doesn't, because I used this, a fringe killer. There are other ways. If you take the cap that comes with it and remove the center plug, instead of having 120 millimeter refractor, you have 60 millimeter refractor with virtually no purple fringe. That plug, by the way, is what we take out to look at the moon so it's not so bright. Any other way to get rid of chromatic aberration? Post work. You can remove the purple rings using Dixon cider, Jim, or Cyril. I don't much like that. I don't think they work that well. But some people, that's how they do it. I just use the filter. And I also use something called Sharp Cat Pro for my captions that has a CC reduction function, color correction. The filter simply blocks purple light or unfocused light. The color correction routine in Sharp Cat sees the purple fringe, so it calculates how much light is there, erases it, and then brightens the star by that amount. So it actually corrects the chromatic aberration. The fellow who wrote the routine suggested you use a fringe killer with it and specifies the SV Boney. It's not the strongest fringe killer, and if you're not using Sharp Cat, you might want to use a stronger one. Vader Semi-Pro is popular. That's all there is to chromatic aberration. On I'm going to show you some photos here. The first photo is no chromatic aberration correction. In fact, this is before I did anything. I took this photo. I did 44. Bright circles everywhere. Doesn't look good at all. The next photo, I did correct for chromatic aberration, so the purples are gone. However, if you look at the size of the stars, you'll see there's some little cyan coloration, and that's due to focusing tube sag. The way to tell if you have focusing tube sag, if you're taking pictures, it'll appear. The other way is to rack the focusing tube out all the way, then rack it in halfway. Grab a hold of the telescope and see if you can wiggle it. If you wiggle the focusing tube, that means that there's some slack in it. To correct that, you can do what I did. Take a little tiny Allen wrench and stick it in these two holes and tighten it a little bit. You see this, the focusing tube slides back and forth, and there's a piece of plastic in there that holds it down. And if it's not held down properly, the focusing tube will sag. And if it's sagging, when the light comes in, it goes to hit the lens or the eyepiece or camera. It's not at the right angle. When it's not at the right angle, you get the little purple or the cyan ears. There's a couple other ways you can address that. One is you can take a piece of Teflon tape and put it on the top of the focusing tube. If you run it, open up the focusing tube all the way and put one piece of Teflon tape on it. That'll help hold it steady. The other way is buy a new focusing tube like this one. GSO makes them. 2-speed heavy focusing tube. That will run about $200. With a new focuser, you won't have that issue. Camera tilt. Back here at the business end of the optical tube, you have the thing that holds the camera or the diagonal or eyepiece or whatever you're using. And when you stick it in there, it kind of wiggles a bit. That's okay. And then they have these thumb screws that hold it in place so it stops wiggling. Well, on this particular telescope, there are two thumb screws and they're not in opposition to each other. They're kind of offset. If you have a third one here, it would help. And what you really need is a compression ring. But compression, you can get there's a photo of it. I'll put a link in the comment. If you take off the back, it unscrews, and replace it with one of those new compression, new focuser backs. They have a compression ring in it, so when you use your thumb screw, it squeezes the eyepiece, diagonal, or camera from all directions at once, and that fixes that. Otherwise, when you stick your camera or whatever in here, when you tighten it down with these two thumb screws, it's going to push it over to one side. Push it over to one side. When the light comes down there, it's hitting at an angle, and that gives you little ears. Other than replacing the entire focuser or replacing the back, the way I did it, I put a little piece of tape. I got one here opposite this and one here opposite this. When you put it in, it doesn't wiggle as much. The tape pushes it over to one side. And then when you tighten the thumb screws, that pushes it back to the other side. And that gets rid of the camera tilt. Something else you'll need to be careful of is balance. This isn't for every optical, this isn't for every refractor, but in the case of the Skywatcher Startravel, the Orion Startravel, or any of the really big 120 millimeter refractors, got a big, huge, heavy lens up front. And since it's a short tube, there's not a whole lot of weight back here in the back. So they're front heavy. Doesn't really matter so much on an alt-as mount like I'm using here, but if you're going to put it on a equatorial mount, and certainly if you're going to try to take pictures with it, you have to have it perfectly balanced. And the way I balance it is, instead of using the finder scope that came with it, I put on a big, heavy 50 millimeter 90-degree finder scope. It weighs about 1.5 pounds. That extra weight makes it so you can balance it. I also put a longer dub bar in. Give me some room moving back and forth. And you'll find balancing is important if you're using an equatorial mount, certainly if you're using a motorized or go-to mount. And those are the 5 things you can do to improve the your views and photographs. Now, this is an excellent telescope for EAA, electronic assisted astronomy, where you're taking pictures of the sky, because you don't. The next size up is a lot longer and a lot heavier, and you have to have a bigger, heavier mount for it. So this is about as big as you can get without going hog wild. It's also good for views, because among refractors, 120 millimeter is a fair amount of aperture. It doesn't have the central obstruction like Newtonian. It's not real finicky like the Schmidt-Cassegrains. So if you want to put it on a mount like this, just go out and look at the sky, you can see a lot more things with a large aperture than you can with a smaller aperture. Ed Ting did a review. I will put a link to his review in the comments below. Looking at all 4, here's 4 pictures for you to look at. Nothing done blotchy. It didn't have pinched optics, so I can't show you a photo with it with pinched optics. But one in the first photo over here, the chromatic aberration is running wild. In the second one, I've corrected the chromatic aberration, but it still has camera tilt and focusing tube sag. The third one only has camera tilt, and the fourth one has nothing wrong with it. That's what the photo is supposed to look like. That's what your views are supposed to look like. Yeah. In addition to Ed Ting's review, you might ask, well, where can I buy one of these? For whatever reason, well, we know why Orion's not selling them. They went out of business. Senta quit selling these to Skywatcher, which is their brand name, in the United States. They are still selling these in Europe, however. So if you go to a European dealer, you can buy one. There's also a competitor, the Kinko Sky Explorer SE120. Same telescope. It's sold in Japan through the Amazon Japan and Kaoi Osaka. You can also find the Astro View 120 and the Celestron 120 f5 if you look real careful. I saw one of these used. I paid $550 for this one. I bought this one used. It's get a 2-speed focuser. I bought this one used for $269. You can often find these on eBay or cloudy nights or anywhere people want to sell their used equipment to upgrade. I saw one of these this morning on eBay for sale. I think it wanted $209 plus about $30 for shipping. It's a little rough looking, but still functional. They're not a bad buy. They're not a bad scope. Once you've addressed these minor issues with them, when I first bought this, I took some photographs with it a couple of years ago. I didn't address any of these issues. So if you look at my old photos, you'll see some cyan on the sides of the bright stars. That was a Tube Sag. Anything else? No, that's it. I hope you enjoy the video, and if you decide to make any improvements to your scope, I wish you well with that. And so until I see you again, happy trails.